Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Yessi, Paul. Brilliant, fine. It's a live session. I saw somebody asking the question, is it pre-recorded or a live session? So it's 100% a live session. So you have the opportunity to ask me questions, okay? Brilliant. So before we get into it, the reason why we are here today, I want to know where you're joining us from, okay? And I'll start by typing mine. I'm joining from Alberta in Canada. Okay, so just type in your location so I know where you're joining us from before we dive into the main meat of our session today. Dan is joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Michael from Lagos, Mombasa, Kenya, Nigeria. Fantastic. Port Harcourt, Kaduna, Benin, Abuja. Phenomenal. Absolutely fantastic. Poland, Toronto, Delta States. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Now let's get into our session for today. If this is your first time in a 10 Analytics Masterclass, just type in one into the chat. If this is your first time in a 10 Analytics Masterclass, type in a 1 into the chat. Brilliant. So we have quite a number of new people joining us today. You are welcome to today's session. We are so happy to have you here. We'll be dissecting 3 major career paths today. The first one would be data analytics. The second would be business analysis, and then the Scrum Master role, and how you can get started. That's the main essence of our session. How do you get started? What do you need to learn? What is important for you to do to get started? Okay, and when I say get started, I mean learning the skill and also getting the job. Usually there is a big gap between what you learn and how you convert that into getting a job. And I'll be walking you through the things you need to do to ensure that you are able to navigate the space, and also share some experience on how we have also helped other people like you to navigate the space as well. All right, so let's dive into the session. I'll do a little bit of introduction and then we'll get right into it. Just like I mentioned, our session today is around a roadmap to selecting a career as a data analyst, as a business analyst, a Scrum Master, and which is the right career for you. So you also have the opportunity to ask me questions as much as possible. I would love you to engage me with questions, and we'll have a Q&A section at the end of my presentation. There is no audio, Chichi. So I have my colleague on the call, Chichi, and I'm sure she would help you solve that problem. All right. Now, who are we at Analytics? For those of you joining us for the very first time, we are an educational technology company helping Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora to get into tech. And one of the ways we do this is by providing you with premium tech skills across different areas to help lower the barrier to entry. And we provide programs in the areas of data analytics, data science, business analysis, data engineering, financial analytics, HR analytics, cybersecurity, Scrum, and so many other programs, right? One of the things we pride ourselves on is on the quality of the professionals, the facilitators, your trainers that we bring to bear. These are professionals that work with the best of the best organizations across the globe. The Fortune 500 companies, they are doing the job on a day-to-day, and these are the people that will be helping you transition into the new role. And this is also very important because it's totally different when you learn from somebody who is on the field, somebody that does this day-to-day, compared to somebody who probably lectures or had just learned this by either watching videos or in a university setting. Over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people transition from the classroom to getting their very first jobs in tech. And I'll be sharing some of the things that you would need to put into consideration if you want to get a job in the tech ecosystem, irrespective of where you are. You are in Nigeria, you want to get jobs outside the country, you are in the UK, you are in Canada, you are in Poland, Europe, everywhere you are, the same strategy would help you land a job. And for me, myself, for those of you that are meeting me for the very first time, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm a data analytics expert, and I'm also the founder of Tenalytics. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK, in the US, and sub-Saharan Africa. And over the last 10 years, I have worked across 5 different sectors from financial services to energy to educational technology, automobile, and so on and so forth. I currently reside in Canada to also gain experience within the space and help as many people as possible to also transition into the data ecosystem. And I'll be sharing some of my wealth of experience with you today. All right. And our session would cut across 3 major phases. And the very first aspect of our session today would be around understanding the different career path. Who is a data analyst? Who is a business analyst? And who is a Scrum Master? Okay, so these are the 3 career paths we're going to look at today. And it's good for you to understand what they do, because that helps you make a decision on the right career path to consider. All right. And I'll also show you the skills you need to learn. And the reason why this is very important is because you have so many people learning the wrong way. All right. They start what they should learn at the end, and they start with that. And I've had so many interactions with so many people, and I've seen this mistake cut across. And that's the reason why we will be providing you with the necessary guidance that you need. I'll provide that for you today, so you know exactly how to start, what to learn, and the additional skills you need to add to your technical skills. And I would also introduce you to our upcoming program, upcoming cohorts starting on the 4th of May, 2024, about less than a month from now. And I would also share some success stories with you, and also an amazing discounts that we have for the month of April. Now, getting into the session for today, when it comes to the tech ecosystem, there are different paths you can follow. There are different aspects you can consider. All right. And this is where people make the mistake, and this is where they find it very confusing. It's either a friend would have told you that, oh, for you to get into tech, for you to get a job in Canada, you need to learn this, and that. All right. Most of the time, they're advising you with all good intentions, but then they're not experts in that area. So they don't know how to guide you right. And you jump into the same boat, and then you struggle, and it seems like it's too difficult to break into these areas. And that's why it's important for you to have the right direction, speak to the right people that would guide you aright. Okay, so there are so many different paths you can consider. And before you select any career path, there are 2 things you must know. The first one is you must know that this career path is in high demand. Okay, and you must also understand what the role entails. For some people, they can never be business analysts because they really can't stand, or either physically face to face, or even over a session like this, over Zoom or over Meets or over Teams, they really can't face people, have conversations, ask questions, interviews, and so on and so forth. So you find yourself in a career whereby this becomes a problem because you cannot maximize your potential in that area. And that's why it's important for you to know specific skills and what the role entails before you dive into that area. All right. I would start with the very first one that you need to take into consideration, and that's the data analyst role. And like I always tell people, if I got a penny for every time somebody has asked me, what's the difference between a data analyst and a business analyst? The difference between a data analyst and a business analyst, I probably would have had over $1 million today in terms of people asking that same question. So we're going to dissect it. The data analyst, the business analyst, are they the same or are they different? Okay. And there is also a common mistake people make, especially when talking about business analysis. Business analysis, okay, business analysis with, sorry, I'm just trying to write so that you clearly understand what I'm trying to say. Business analysis with an SIS is totally different from business analytics. They are totally different. Business analysis and business analytics are different. Okay, a lot of people make this mistake as well, and I'm going to break it down and so that you understand clearly what those two career paths entail. Now, let's dive into the very first one. That's the data analyst. Who is a data analyst? That's a very big question. I've worked as a data analyst for about a decade as a professional, all right? So I can tell you practically who a data analyst is and what a data analyst does. And a data analyst solves a very simple or plays a very simple role in an organization, all right? And simply put, a data analyst helps a company solve problems. That's number one. And a data analyst helps companies answer questions. That's number two. So you solve problems and you answer questions for the company. Okay. Now, to bring it to something that you are always very used to, understanding who a data analyst is and what they do, every company generates data. Every company wants to know what happened in the past, right? Take, for example, I want to know what happened in 2023 in my company in terms of the number of customers we got, the revenue we generated, the costs we incurred or the expenses we incurred, and so many other things. Where are the participants coming from? Okay, so for some of you who have joined our session today, you are joining from Canada, from the UK, from Nigeria, from Poland, from South Africa, Kenya. I want to be able to know how many people came from Nigeria. What's the percentage of people that came from South Africa, and so on and so forth. Every company wants somebody who can help them answer this question. And that's who the data analyst is. You'd always help a company answer two questions as a data analyst. And the first question you'd help the company answer is what happened? All right. And the second question you'd help a company answer is why did it happen? Okay, when I say data analysts help companies answer questions, these are the two questions data analyst helps the company to answer. What happened and why did it happen? And let's take a very good example. Last year, 2023, you want to know the number of customers that you got as a business. That data analyst would come up with something that looks like a chart. And that chart would show January, February, March, April, May, June. Let's stop at July because of space, right? And we'll draw something or create something to show you what happened in 2023. In January, let's say we had 300 customers. In February, we had 500. Please pardon my writing. March, we had maybe 100. April, we had about, say, 800. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's say March, we had about, so April, we had about, say, 800. All right. Now, let me just stop here so that we don't have the slide cluttered. In January, we generated 300 customers. In February, we generated 500 customers. All right. In March, we generated, say, 400. And in April, we generated 800. This is what happened, and every company wants to know what happened. When you look at this and see from January to April 2023, and this is what happened, 300, 500, 400, 800. What is the question? So imagine yourself in a meeting and somebody is presenting this to you. The next question you'd ask is, why do we have a sharp increase in April, moving from 400 in March to 800 in April? So this is what happened. The very first question, this is what happened. And from this, you then get to find out why it happened. So why do we have April having 800? And in January, why do we have the lowest number of customers generated? And that's where the data analyst would also answer the second question to find out why something happened. And that's the major objective of a data analyst. Answering the question, what happened and why it happened. And when you're answering this question, you're not answering it based on your experience or based on what you think. You are answering it based on the data that the organization has generated, because every organization generates data. Simply put, this is the role of the data analyst. You are responsible for analyzing data, interpreting the data, and coming up with insights that can help the company take decisions. So if I know what happened and I know why it happened, perhaps in the month of April, for us to have that sharp rise to get 800 customers, we had a discount that ran in the month of March. And that discount was what gave us that 2x growth between March and April. So if I know that whenever I give a discount, I'm going to get more customers, I can then implement that same strategy going forward from that point into the rest of the year, so I can keep on increasing my customers. And that's what the data analyst helps the organization to know, to take decisions that are driven and supported by data. That's the role of the data analyst. If I show you this on my screen, which shows the data of a particular company, you have the rows, you have the columns, and I ask you, tell me how many customers traveled during summer, because you have data here that shows the season. Okay, it shows the season during summer, during winter, and so on and so forth. It's a bit very tiny, so you might not see it very clearly. But this looks very, very difficult to make any sense of, because you have so many numbers, you have so many things happening at the same time. The role of the data analyst is to take this data that looks like this, analyze the data using different tools like Excel, Power BI, SQL, and so on and so forth, and give you something that looks like this. From this visual, it is clear what the business needs to do as a travel company that has just had their data analyzed by the data analyst. So let's have a look at this a little bit better. You are the CEO of this company, and this is a travel company. Your customers have given you this data to tell you when they want to travel. All right. So you have the month from January to December, 1 to 12. They've also told you where they want to travel to, and so on and so forth. Okay. But I want to ask a question. And my question is, if you are the CEO of this company and you want to create travel packages for your company for the year 2024, what month of the year do you think your customers would love to travel, so that you can create packages that would fit into their plans for that particular month? So based on what you can see on my screen, I just need somebody who would want to speak. You raise your hand, or you can simply just type it into the chat. Fumi says December. Okay, let's hear from Titus. Titus wants to speak. So Titus, I've asked you to unmute yourself. So tell us, when do you think customers would love to travel based on what you can see on my screen?
Based on what I can see from the diagram here, it's a December period.
December, fantastic. You can see that clearly. Majority of the customers would love to travel in December. Thanks for that, Titus, and every other person that has sent messages in the chat. Chidima says December, absolutely. December and July, promise. Thanks for that. Okay, so we can see December. We can also see July also has sort of a spike. So we can tell clearly that if we want to take a decision on when customers would love to travel, we are not deciding based on what is in our head. We are deciding based on the data that we have generated from the customers. And it is clear we can take a decision that is data-driven. The data analyst is the person that comes up with this visual. All right. I want somebody else to tell us, where will the customers love to go to based on what you can see on my screen on this particular chart? Where would the customers love to travel to so that you can create packages for those customers to those specific locations? Paris. Michael says Paris. Soji. Agnes. Brilliant. Fantastic. Titilayo says Paris. Clearly, we can see that from the charts on what the data the customer has given us, Paris is the preferred destination. That's where the customers would love to go to. So we might assume that, oh, it is Dubai, or it is Seychelles, or it is in the Maldives, as the case might be, based on our assumption. However, what the data actually says is totally different. And that's why it's important for us to always analyze data. And that's the role of the data analyst in any organization. If the data remained this way, it's difficult to take the same decision. It's difficult for Titus to tell me that December is the preferred month of travel. And also difficult for all the other people that said Paris is the preferred destination to tell me by just looking at this data at the left-hand side. But when the data is analyzed and a visual like this is created, it becomes a lot easier for us to take decisions. And for companies that you see that are so successful, for companies that you see that are at the forefront of innovation, they always work and take decisions using data. And that's why the data analyst would always be relevant. So the data analyst is that professional who answers two questions for the company: what happened and why it happened. Okay, what happened and why did it happen? Now, when you answer the question, what happened, it's a part of analytics called descriptive analytics. Descriptive. You are what? Describing. Descriptive analytics. And when you answer the question why that thing happened, you are diving deeper into the data to diagnose and find out, why did we have a spike in April? Okay, and that is called diagnostic analytics. Diagnostic analytics. All right, so you have descriptive analytics and you have diagnostic analytics as well. And these are the two questions of what happened and why it happened, which is what the data analyst would do. Okay, so you answer these two questions for any company by taking data, analyzing the data, interpreting the data, and helping the company make decisions by generating insights. This is where the customers would love to go. This is the number of people that said they would love to go at this particular time of the year. And when those people are traveling, they have also told us that most of them would like to hire a car. 70% of the customers would like to hire a car. So when we are creating our travel plans, our travel packages, we should also include hiring a car, the possibility of customers hiring a car, because we are likely going to generate more revenue from those type of customers. And that's the role of the data analyst. And how do you become a data analyst? What skills must you learn? And there are so many people that learn all sorts of things to become data analysts, and they struggle and they can never become one. And the reason, like I said, is because you learn the last thing first. and you get yourself all confused. You need to start from the background and from the fundamental. Okay, you need to understand the fundamental of data analytics, which is problem solving. And problem solving all has to do with what? Understanding that there is a problem, knowing how to dissect that problem into multiple parts, and also knowing the right technique and framework to use to solving that problem. Knowing if you have the data to answer the question that you need to answer. And if you don't have the data, how do you generate the data? All that falls within problem solving. It is only when you know this, the background, the foundation, you now move into Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is the foundation of anything data. With Excel, you can handle data, summarize data, create visuals, visualizations using data, the same visuals I just showed you now, and you told me that the preferred destination is Paris, and people would like to travel in the month of December, okay? And you learn how to use Excel to do that. This gives you that entry into the data analytics ecosystem. Then you move to SQL, structured query language. And SQL is that skill, is that language that anybody who works with data must understand, because this is the language of databases. Organizations would have their data in a database. Organizations would not just store data anywhere. The data will be in a database, which is a central location. And for you to interact with that database to get your data, analyze that data, you do that with what? SQL, structured query language. After that, you move to Power BI. Power BI is a data visualization tool. It's a tool for business intelligence, to get intelligence out of the data you have to help the business take decisions and move forward. Power BI is a tool that will do amazing visualizations for you. You can automate your processes in a way that you don't have to create the same visualizations every single time. You create it once and you can keep on updating it regularly. Now, imagine that the dashboard I just showed you, where you told me that Paris is the preferred destination. This is a report or a presentation you have to make every week. Collect data from customers, create that report to tell the company what they need to do in terms of the location to travel to, when the customers would love to go, and so on and so forth. You don't want to spend your time creating that every single week. You want to create it once, and once you get data, more data, you only update what you already have, and it is automated. For you to create that automation, you need a tool like Power BI. All right. You'd also learn how to use Tableau. Tableau is very similar to Power BI. And why we always advise data analysts to also learn Tableau is because you'd have organizations that have a preference for Power BI. Some would have a preference for Tableau because they are both BI tools. So the question you need to ask yourself is, why do I learn one when I can learn the two and compete for all the jobs and the best jobs available? So this gives you more access to jobs when you have the two within your toolkits, Power BI and Tableau. Then you learn data storytelling, which is how you communicate and tell what you have seen in the data in order for people to take decisions. You would not be the one to take the decision as a data analyst. You'd make your presentations, share your findings, and probably the CEO, the director, your line manager, the head of the department would be the person to take the decision, correct? But you would have to tell a story, compelling story that is data-driven to take them from where they are to the decision they need to make in a non-technical fashion, all right? And then you move into ChatGPT for analytics. As a data analyst, you must understand ChatGPT. It has come to stay. That's what you need. That's what every organization today would hire you for, very good prompt engineering skills. You need to know how to write the right type of prompts that would give you the desired outcome. All right. And this accelerates your work. Something that takes you maybe 1-2 hours, you are doing it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes because of the advent of ChatGPT. And of course, you know that there are two versions of ChatGPT. You have the 3.5, which is the free version, and you have the 4.0, which is the paid version. And I'll tell you for a fact that the 4.0 for a data analyst is simply amazing. It cuts your work, it cuts your stress by 50%. If you used to work, crazy hours, you used to do a lot of things, ChatGPT 4.0 would cut your work by half, as long as you know how to write the right type and the correct type of prompts. And then you learn Microsoft Fabric, which is a new technology from Microsoft. It's a platform that contains so many different analytics materials, okay? You want to create a dashboard using Power BI, you can do it in Fabric. You want to write SQL queries in Microsoft Fabric, you can do the same as well. You can also create data lakes, data warehouses, all in Microsoft Fabric, and it is very good for collaboration. And organizations are starting to move into this platform. So you having the skill gives you access to enormous opportunities within the space. And organizations that see that you have these skills would come for you, and you would become, a hot cake, just like, people would say. And that's the skills you need to learn. The 1 to 8, you learn the skills: problem solving, Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, ChatGPT for analytics, Microsoft Fabric. And this gives you access to the best data analyst roles across the globe. All right. And how long? Because people ask this question: do I need to learn this for 2 years, for 1 year? Within 4 months, you can transition from somebody who has never done anything analytics, never done anything data, and you become a data analyst by learning for 3 months. So 3 months, you are in a project-based class. And I'll explain what that means. Learning in a project-based environment is totally different from the way you have learned from when you started learning up until this moment. Totally different. Learning in a project-based environment for 3 months. And then for 1 month, you would what? Intern. You'd work as an intern, working on real-life projects, real-life case studies, where you put the skills you've learned into practice. End-to-end, you and other team members, you work in a cross-functional team to achieve a common goal, and you would be the data analyst on that particular job. All right. So this is what it takes for you to get into data analytics. And how would your learning, journey be structured? Do you need to come to class every day? Do you need to attend, classes every single weekend, and so on and so forth? Your classes, which are broken into the live classes, which happens on Saturdays, and on Sundays, you have a self-paced class. It is not a live class. And you also have the opportunity, depending on where you are. If you are in Europe, in the UK, in Africa, you have similar time zones, all right? So your classes are 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Saturday. Your live class, where you have a trainer like myself that will teach you, work on projects together and solve problems. It's a project-based learning environment. And for those in Canada, in the US, the North American region, your class happens 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if you're in Alberta, for example, that'll be 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. your time, okay? Which is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West Africa time. So you have a time that fits your time zone, irrespective of where you are. And on Sundays, you don't have a live class. You have something we call Watch Me Do It videos. And I'll show you the classroom and what it looks like. And this is where you have bite-sized videos that you go back to watch every Sunday at your convenience. Some people pace the classes Sundays into Monday, Tuesday. They watch all those videos and you practice the things you see in the videos ahead of the next live class the following Saturday. All right? And that's the way to learn to become a data analyst. Now, this gives you the technical skills. It gives you the technical skills, but you need more than the technical skills to get the job. Okay, and I'm also going to break it down. you need more than the technical skills to get the job. And I'll break it down, show you the other skills you need to get. Like I always tell people, if you're the best in Excel in the whole of Africa or the best in Excel in the whole of Canada, somebody who has those additional skills that you don't have would get the job before you. And I've seen it happen so many times. Okay. But when you ask yourself the question, technically, what do I need to become a data analyst? These are your set of skills. All right. So I want you to take a screenshot, take a snapshot of it, ensure that you have this right at the back of your mind. And like I said, we'll come back to Q&A and we'll talk about and answer so many other questions in relation to all the things I've said before. And never forget, the data analyst answers 2 questions in a company. And I want you to tell me what those 2 questions are. Type it into the chat. What are those 2 questions the data analyst must answer? If you remember, type it into the chat. Victory says what and why. That's the short form, and that's absolutely phenomenal. Thank you very much, Victory. Let's hear from other people. The 2 questions the data analyst must answer. What happened and why did it happen? Thank you, Gifty. Victor, fantastic. Mark, thank you very much. Fumi says, what happened and why? Brilliant. I can see PGM says, what happened? Descriptive. Why is diagnostic? Absolutely phenomenal. So I can see you are all on the same page with me. That's what you do as a data analyst in an organization. And you do that using all these tools we have highlighted. Those are the tools you use. But remember, these tools are not enough for you to get the job. Okay, and we're going to get into that once we look at the other career path. Now, let's move to the business analyst. And again, like I said earlier, people confuse the business analyst with business analytics, and they are different. Okay, business, and let me just talk about it here. When you talk about business analytics, it is not the same as business analysis. Business analytics is equivalent to what? Data analytics. Okay? They are brothers and sisters. Business analytics is a derivative of data analytics. So when you hear business analytics, you hear data analytics, they are brothers and sisters. They are pretty much the same. The same explanations I have given to you would also cover business analytics. The major difference between the two is business analytics only focuses on the business side of things, while data analytics focuses on so many areas beyond just the business. Okay, focuses on social analysis, projects in the healthcare, and so on and so forth, not-for-profits, and so on and so forth, okay? However, business analytics focuses solely on the different aspects of the business. But in terms of analyzing the data, answering 2 questions, coming up with insights, data-driven decisions, they are the same 100%. So I'll talk about business analysis now. And who is a business analyst? A business analyst in any organization, every organization has 3 major components: processes, people, and technology. Okay, I'm going to call it tech. Sorry, I think the batteries of my pen is low. So you have process, people, and technology. So these are the 3 major components of any business. As a business analyst, in this instance, we are talking about what? Business analysis. Okay, business analysis. As a business analyst, your focus is on the processes of that company. the processes of that company. Now, imagine you work for a company that sells mobile phones. Okay, the company sells mobile phones, and for customers to order for a mobile phone, they put a phone call across to your customer service. They call the customer service. Customer service says, okay, I've taken your order. We're going to look into the store, see if we have that available, and we'll get that across to you. So they collect your location, your details, and everything. All right. Now, that customer service rep that has collected the details would pass those details to the procurement team to find out if that phone is available in the store. The head of procurement would then pass the message to the store manager to check if we have that phone available in the store. And if it is available in the store, delivery will then package and deliver to the customer. Okay, so you have multiple processes. The customer calls, the customer service takes down the details, passes it to procurement, procurement passes it to store passes it to delivery. As a business analyst, you come into that organization and you look at that process, and there are so many inefficiencies. And I want you to highlight, from the story I've just painted, highlight any inefficiency you can see in that process. Customer calls, a customer service rep picks up the phone, takes down the details, passes it to procurement, procurement passes it to store passes it to delivery. I want you to tell me, what lapses do you see in this particular process? If you want to speak, please feel free. Raise your hand. I'll call you up to unmute yourself, or just type it into the chat. What are the inefficiencies you see in this particular process? Okay. Time wasting. I love that, Shay. Delays. Brilliant. Because guess what? Your competitors are doing it a lot faster. So while your process is taking you probably 2 days for you to fulfill this order, your competitors are doing it in 1 hour, or let's say maybe 3 hours. All right. So I love that. There are delays. There's going to be delays and mistakes because you collect details, pass from one person to the other, to the other, to the other. You would have gaps in terms of errors and delays. So as a business analyst, you go into that company, analyze that process by doing what? Coming up with the process flow. So what is the current process today in this company? How does a customer orders an item, and how is that item delivered? And you will create something called a process map to show the end-to-end process in that particular company. When you look at the end-to-end process, you now start to identify inefficiencies. Where are the problems? Where are the gaps? And how can we take this process that takes 2 days, just like Shegun said, and reduce this process from 2 days to what? 3 hours. How can we do it? And one of the best ways to do it is by introducing automation. So rather than the customers calling, if we build a platform, right, and customers go to that platform to order the item, it will be a lot faster because the platform would have an inventory management system that gets updated. So once a customer buys, if you have 100, it would reduce from 100 to 99. And as customers buy, it keeps on reducing. And when it gets to a specific number, maybe 20, you have an alert that you are low in stock, you need to reorder and put in more stock. So you need that platform that customers can go in and order their item. As a business analyst, it is your responsibility to map out the process, look for the inefficiencies, and recommend to the company what needs to be done in terms of automation. You are not going to build the platform, but you would recommend what needs to be done. So we need to automate this process. So what features, if we're going to build a platform or we are going to buy an existing platform, what type of features should this platform have? Should I be able to click on an item and it shows as a drop down, or should I click on an item and it shows in a particular way? You start to look at those type of things. And how do you get the features that should be on the platform? You do something we call what? Requirements gathering. Okay? Requirements gathering. All right. So you sit down with the customer service, you sit down with the head of procurement, you sit down with the store manager, you sit down with the delivery guys, and you also get feedback from the customers. And based on all the things they have said with regards to the platform you want to implement, you gather the requirements, what needs to be on this platform. And once you gather your requirements, you have something you call the BRD, the Business Requirements Document. And this is the document that you, as the business analyst, you have gathered from the business and you'll be passing on to the technology team that will build that application for you. So you would manage the project to ensure that all the requirements defined by the business is implemented when building or buying that platform. And that's the role of the business analyst. You are there to make processes more efficient. You are there to ensure that the business does things a lot faster. You are there to ensure that processes that takes 2 days, you reduce it to take just 2 hours or 1 hour. And of course, for you to sit down with customers, for you to sit down with the head of department, head of procurement, the store manager, the delivery guys, you must know how to manage stakeholders, because those are stakeholders within the company. All right. So you are doing what? Looking at the processes. You are looking at the stakeholders, and you're also ensuring that you implement systems in the company that would make the company more efficient. And that's the simple role of the business analyst. Looking at the role of the data analyst and the business analyst, are they the same? Type in yes or no. Are they the same? Type in yes or no. From what we explained for the data analyst and what we've explained for the business analyst, are they the same? They are totally different. They are not in any way the same. All right. So it's always very important that we take this into consideration. People see business analysts, they see data analysts, and they assume that they are, in some way the same, but they are totally different. The business analyst is looking at processes, looking at systems, looking at the stakeholders within the business. The data analyst is looking at what? The data, analyzing the data, coming up with recommendations based on what happened and why it happened. For the business analyst, you are analyzing the business, okay? The processes, like I mentioned, the stakeholders, and also the systems to identify improvements and solutions to the business challenges. All right, so these are 2 different sets of skills that you need to do the job. Okay, now, as a business analyst, you also need the business analyst of today. And this is the reason why so many business analysts also struggle to get jobs today. And that's simply because they have not come to terms with the fact that even though I'm a business analyst, I must have a good understanding of Excel, Power BI, and SQL, which of course you would call data analytics skills. All right. And this can help you get the job of something you call a business data analyst. Okay, let me see. This is a role you call a business data analyst, right? Where you have a business analyst that has a fair appreciation for data analytics. And what are the skills you need to learn to become a business analyst? you start with learning Excel, Power BI, and SQL, so that as you compete to get jobs as a business analyst, you can also compete to get jobs as a business data analyst. And I'll show you a practical, real-life scenario of somebody who was out of work in the UK for 6 months, how he was able to get a job as a business analyst by adding Excel, Power BI, and SQL to his list of skills when he joined us. I'll tell you exactly how it happened. So once you've learned Excel, Power BI, and SQL as a business analyst, you know how to use Excel to create dashboards, Power BI, you can create visualizations, create your data models, and SQL, you can interact with databases. You know what it means. You can get data from a database and so on and so forth. You then move to process mapping. We talked about that. That process of customer calling, customer service, head of procurement, store manager, delivery. There's a process. You must know how to map out processes using tools like what? Draw.io and also Lucid Charts. These are diagramming tools that helps you map out processes. Once you know how to do that, you move to project initiation planning. Remember, once you've given a recommendation that we need to build a platform, to make this process that takes 2 days, take 1 hour. Once that has been approved, at the end of the day, you've made a case, you come up with a business case, and you've made a case for that project. The project would have to commence. You would be the one to manage the project. So as a business analyst, you also have project management skills embedded into your skills in the sense of project initiation planning, Agile and Scrum for projects, and also software development life cycles, because most of the projects you would work on would be software related, tech related. So you need to know the life cycle of building a software, an application. How is that software planned? How is it designed? How is it tested? How is it deployed? How is it maintained? And so on and so forth. You need to understand the life cycle. You also need to know how to gather requirements, requirement fundamentals. We talked about that. Elicitation, which is pretty much where you set up focus groups, you set up workshops, you set up meetings or interviews to ask questions and get the answers that you need to ensure that you are deploying the right solution in that organization. Okay? Stakeholder analysis and engagement. You're going to work with people. And that's why I said that for those people who, or for that particular person, one of you here would have issues working with other people. You don't want to be that person who takes, who coordinates a meeting, coordinates a workshop, you ask questions, you interview. As a business analyst, you are constantly communicating. Okay? You are constantly managing stakeholders. What's the best way to manage this stakeholder? What's the best way to get what I need from this stakeholder? How do I get everybody's buy-in and so on and so forth? All right. And of course, you can't go without learning ChatGPT for business analysis. Absolutely important for anybody who wants to get into business analysis today. You must know how to use ChatGPT. It gives you an edge over your competitors and the people you'll be competing with. How long can you take to learn the skills? 4 months. 2 months project-based classes and 2 months internship working on a real-world project. And the project for the business analyst is where you are helping a company to optimize the process of their HR department. They're going to build a self-service software. So you'd work with a software developer on that project. You'd also have a Scrum Master on the project, but you would be the business analyst, gathering the requirements, managing the project, ensuring that all the requirements you have gathered are implemented on a real-world project. You're going to have weekly meetings. You're going to have sprint reviews where you sit down together with a software developer and you look at what has been done vis-a-vis the requirements you have gathered as the business analyst. Because guess what? This is what gives you the experience that recruiters would want from you. Okay, and how do you learn as a business analyst? You have live classes both on Saturdays and on Sundays. And again, the classes are flexible depending on your location. If you're in the EU, the UK, in Africa, you have your classes from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're in Canada, you're in the US, North American region, similar regions, you have 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And if you convert that to West Africa time, you have that 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay, so you can select any of the timings you'd like to join, any of the classes you'd like to join based on your preference. And on Sundays, you have 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. if you are in Africa, you are in the UK, similar time zones, or 12 noon to 3 p.m. if you are in the US or you are in Canada, and so on and so forth. And the demand for business analysts, just like the data analyst, is also very, very high across board. In fact, I always tell people this, look, if you are a project or you're thinking of going into project management today, I would rather recommend that you consider the business analysis program. You consider the business analyst career path. And this is simply based on the demand for these, professionals across the globe. All right. Now, I'm going to just touch a little bit on the differences between the data analyst and the business analyst, just to bring it home based on the explanations I've given. So as a data analyst, your focus is on what? Using the data to help businesses answer key questions. We talked about that. As the business analyst, you're not looking at just the data. You're looking at the entire businesses. You're looking at the processes. You're looking for how to identify inefficiencies and optimize processes within the business. Data analyst focuses on data. Business analyst focuses on what? The processes, the stakeholders, and so on and so forth. Okay? As a data analyst, you are more technical when it comes to the data analytics tools like Excel, like Power BI, like SQL. Even though the business analyst would also learn these skills, the data analyst will be more technically sound because that's their bread and butter. That's what they'll do every single day. But as a business analyst, your job is not to analyze the data every day. No, your job is to focus on process optimization, ensuring that change within the organization happens and happens effectively. All right. So you will be more focused on taking some of the insights you have seen from the data analyst. The data analyst has said that, okay, we need to focus on traveling to Paris in the month of December. You would take that, look at it as a business analyst. How can we ensure that we deliver the best? And the process of customers getting onboarded, customers, getting into this particular package is as efficient as possible. As a data analyst, you are focused a lot on cleaning data, preparing the data, ensuring that your reports and analysis communicates what you have found in the sense of data storytelling. On the other hand, as a business analyst, your focus would be on the stakeholders. Who are the people I need to speak with? Who are the people I need to get requirements from? When I'm carrying out this workshop to ask questions or this focus group, who are the people that needs to be with me on this particular project? Okay, how do I come up with my requirement documents and so on and so forth? And that's the focus of the business analyst. All right, so their responsibilities are quite different. And when you also come to the tools and skills, the data analyst, like I listed earlier, you would be very sound in problem solving, data storytelling, Excel, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, ChatGPT, and communication. As a business analyst, you must have interviewing skills. You're going to carry out a lot of interviews to ask questions and so on. So you must be a people person. You'd have people skills, how to manage people, manage stakeholders, how to communicate with stakeholders and all of that. Communication skills, you'll learn how to use Jira to track project deliverables and project progress, project deliverables. You would learn how to use draw.io, Lucidchart to map out processes and so on. Confluence for collaboration. You'd also learn Excel, Power BI, SQL, ChatGPT for business analysis. Okay, so these are the key differences between the two career paths. I'm going to share my slide with you at the end of today, but I believe and I hope you have been able to decipher between the two career paths. in terms of the data analyst and the business analyst. And we'll move to the last career path of today, which is the Scrum Master. Okay, the Scrum Master. As a Scrum Master, you are more or less like a leader, not a manager. A manager gets involved managing the project. Okay, hands-on managing the project. The Scrum Master is a leader that ensures that when working on a project, the Scrum rules and the Scrum principles are what? Implemented. The Scrum Master is that person that acts as a leader on a project that ensures that the Scrum rules, the Scrum principles are implemented on that project. So the question is, what are the Scrum rules that needs to be implemented? The Scrum principles. There are two different types of methodologies when it comes to project management, okay? So when you look at project management as a whole, you have the predictive, okay, and you have the adaptive. All right, you have the predictive and you have the adaptive. The predictive is your waterfall methodology. And some of you that have heard about waterfall. So waterfall is simply, I like to use this jollof rice analogy. Imagine you want to cook jollof rice to a couple of guests. Okay. Now, using the waterfall methodology, you know that to cook jollof rice, I need rice, I need water, I need salt, I need Maggi, I need oil, groundnut oil, I need meat, whatever, you know what you need. There's a standard for cooking jollof rice. You get all those condiments, all those ingredients, everything that you need, and you cook your jollof rice. It is done following all the right procedures that you need to follow to cook jollof rice. And when it is done, you serve to your guests. That is waterfall. You predict everything that you need. You know what you need. You know the processes to follow, the procedures. You do that, you cook your jollof rice, you serve to your guests. Adaptive is where you have agile. Agile is not predictive, it is adaptive. It adapts based on feedback. So you are cooking the same jollof rice to your guests. Now, you know that the basic requirements for cooking jollof rice, water, and salt. Okay, so you get your rice, you get your water, you get your salt, and you start to cook. When you've cooked it to a particular extent, you take a little, you serve to your guests to taste and give me feedback. So your guest will taste the rice and say, oh, you need to add a little bit more salt, and I think you need to add tomatoes, and so on. So you go back, you add a little bit more salt, you add tomatoes, you cook for a while, you take again and give to your guests for them to taste. When they taste, they give you feedback, and you're always going back to do what? Modify the process until you have the perfect jollof rice for the guests that you have. Now, my question is, if you follow the waterfall methodology and you follow the agile methodology to building or cooking that same jollof rice, who do you think would love the jollof rice and appreciate the jollof rice? The waterfall or the agile? Just type into the chat, the waterfall or the agile. Agile, absolutely. The agile. The what? The agile. Now, why is this the case? It's the case because you have done what? Collected feedback. You have iterated the process. You're not building the generic jollof rice. You are building this to fit into the demand of who? Customers. And that's the way you'd see products within the tech ecosystem generated and built today. Your WhatsApp, your Instagram, your Facebook, and all the applications you use, they follow the agile framework. because you have all these regular updates. When WhatsApp started, you never had screen sharing, you never had the video call, you didn't have so many things that you have today. So as customers use these applications and these products, they give feedback, and those feedbacks are implemented. And that's what the Scrum Master ensures must happen, the application of the Agile methodology on projects. Okay, and that's the role of the Scrum Master, that person that ensures that the Agile methodology is implemented, the Scrum rules, the Scrum principles are implemented when delivering projects. That's who the Scrum Master is. All right, so you're that person that when championing a project, you provide guidance to the team, okay, ensuring that the Agile practices are followed by all members. Okay, and what do you need to learn? So if you look at the Scrum Master, you can look at the Scrum Master as a coach, a football coach. The football coach does not get on the field to play, but the football coach would do what? Ensure that the team works effectively. The team would come together to meet, and the job of the Scrum Master is to ensure that all the team members follow the same rules of the game. All right, and they help the team stay organized. If there's any impediment, any obstacle, they remove those obstacles from the way and ensure that at the end of the day, they are able to build a product that would fit the demand of the customers. Okay, and that's who the Scrum Master is. So you're going to have to understand what the Scrum, the different Scrum ceremonies, what they entail. You start by learning introduction to Scrum. You learn about the Scrum team, which comprises of the product owner. The product owner is simply the person responsible for analyzing all the features that the product would contain, ensuring that that's the person that is more or less just like the name implies, the owner of the product. Every feature that's going to be deployed must, come from the product owner. The product owner must sign off on that and know that this is what needs to be built into this particular product. The Scrum Master also forms a part of the Scrum team, and all other team members, the software developers, and every other person that will be involved on that project forms the Scrum team, okay? You learn about the Scrum artifacts, okay? The product backlog, the sprint backlog, the burn down charts, and so on and so forth. You'd learn about the Scrum events, the events that must take place, which includes the sprint planning, your daily Scrum, for example. So you want to come up with a particular product. Every day you have your daily stand-up or your daily Scrum, where you look at what has been done yesterday. Okay, what have we done yesterday? Is it fit for purpose? What do we need to do? Are there any impediments? Are there any obstacles? So you have this daily Scrum. And you also have your sprints. Your sprints are simply, could take 2 weeks, could take 1 week, depending. And this is where you take those important features of that product and you build it within that period so that you can test and get feedback to keep on iterating and so on and so forth. So you must understand the Scrum events. And Nexus Scale Scrum is simply where you are deploying the Scrum framework across multiple teams in an enterprise. And you'd also need to have taken the PSM certification, the Professional Scrum Master certification as a Scrum Master. And bear in mind, a data analyst can be a Scrum Master, a data scientist can be a Scrum Master, a business analyst can be a Scrum Master. All right? And having the Scrum Master role as part of the skills that you have gives you access to numerous opportunities within the tech ecosystem. And how long does it take for you to become a Scrum Master? A little bit over 2 months. You have 1 month where in class we are learning the Scrum principles, the Agile framework, the Agile methodology, and then you have 1.5 months working on a real world project. All right, and this project you would work on as a Scrum Master is the same project the business analyst would also be working on. You're going to learn Jira. You're going to learn Trello. Jira for tracking project task, project deliverables. And you'd also learn Trello for collaboration and so on and so forth, and also tracking project deliverables. Your classes, you have live classes both on Saturdays and on Sundays. All right, on Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And this is what it takes for you to become a Scrum Master. And the demand is also very, very high. All right. All the things I've mentioned, from the data analyst to the business analyst to the Scrum Masters, these are the technical skills that you must have. The technical skills that you must have. Okay. When it comes to the other set of skills, which is even more important, and I'll be talking about them shortly. Technical skill is 50%. Okay, technical skill is what? 50%. The employability skill, we call it employability skill, is another 50%. So if you have technical, you're very sound, you're very good with all the tools, all those techniques and so on. You're very good with this, but you don't have employability, you would struggle to ever get a job. If you have the employability skills and you don't have the technical, you'd also struggle to get a job. You must have both the technical and the employability skills. And I'll talk about them before we move into our Q&A. All right? Now, I always tell people this, and if you have a pen and paper, write it somewhere. Competence over credentials. Competence over credentials. If you have a paper, write it somewhere. Competence over credentials. Very, very important. A lot of people struggle to get certifications, and there are so many of them. Business analysts today, Scrum Masters, but they don't have the skills and experience to back it up. And that is putting the cart before the horse. All right, you have certifications, but you don't have the skills, you don't have the experience. Your certifications are worthless. Employers today have very low appreciation for certifications, and I'll tell you the reason why. Of course, according to a study by the American Psychological Association, they clearly indicate that when you hire people for their skills, skills are 5 times more predictive of job performance and more than 2 times more predictive than when you hire them for what? Education. All right. So skills and competence becomes very much important than you just having education. Okay. Now, also remember, like I said, it's always competence over credentials. Always competence over credentials. And I've also kept the link for you to a BCG article that talks a whole lot about competence over what? Credentials. All right. So when you hire people for skills, it is 5 times more predictive of job performance than when you hire for education. And it is also 2 times more predictive than when you hire for experience. So you can't underrate the importance of what? Skills. And I'll talk about that as we move on. And of course, for organizations who focus on skill-based hires, those employees stay 9% longer than other type of employees. Okay, so that's one. Number 2, employers today already know that so many people with paper, they have that paper, but they don't have the skills, they don't have the experience to get the job done on day one. And I want to put it to you, to every 186 of you here on the call, and I want to ask you, who would you rather hire? Somebody with a certification or somebody with the skills and experience for that particular role? So if it's certification, just type in C. If it's skills and experience, just type in S. Let me hear from you. Skills and experience. All right. So now imagine yourself in the position of as a hiring manager or as the HR in that organization. Every employer, every potential employer, HR recruiter out there would hire you for your skills and experience before they look at any other thing. The question is, can you do the job on day one? That's what everybody wants to answer. So employers would always want somebody that can do the job on the first day, on day one, because they're also aware that people can sit for examinations for you. I can sit, and this happens all the time. Unfortunately, that's the case. All right. So when you get into an interview, nobody's going to ask you how many times did you write a particular exam or a certification before you passed, or what was your certification experience. Nobody would ask you about that in an interview. What they ask you are what? Competency based. Tell me about a time you have, carried out a particular project, or tell me about a time you have used Excel or Power BI to solve a problem in an organization. Those are the type of questions they would ask you. So you can tell them clearly how you have used those tools to solve problems. So you're going to get questions like, can you describe an end-to-end machine learning project that you worked on and explain how you selected the machine learning algorithm? Or tell me about a time you had to manage a situation where stakeholders had conflicting requirements, and can you give an example of how you handled the situation? So they want to know firsthand from you, if you have participated on projects, you would have definitely had this type of experience. So tell us how you handled it, because you're going to be doing the same for us. These are the questions they would ask you during interviews. So put this at the back of your mind. Competence over what? Credentials. So how do you then get the skills, and how do you get the experience? I've mentioned a lot about the skills that you're going to get when you join a class as a data analyst for 4 months, business analyst for 4 months, Scrum Master for 2.5 months. You get all the skills that you need. But how do you then get the experience that you need? And this is where I'll be introducing you to what we do, where we do our best work, because we know that 90% of you want to either get a promotion in the office, or you want to transition from your current role. You're a banker, you're a teller, you're in logistics, you're in healthcare, you're a warehouse officer, you currently do Uber, or you are a master's student, as the case might be, and you want to transition into these roles. The very first thing you need to do is you learn the skill. This is a no-brainer. All right, you must learn the skill in a project-based environment. Project-based, and I'm emphasizing on that, and I'll showcase what that means when I say project-based. Secondly, what gives you access to projects that would help you build a portfolio? All right, you must build a portfolio. And what would give you access to, putting your portfolio together would be on working on projects. All right, so you must build a portfolio working on quality projects to showcase the depth of your skills. You must work on quality projects. I've left some sites where, as a data analyst, you can get data from. As a business analyst, you can get data from. Kaggle is one of them. Kaggle.com/dataset. Our World in Data is another one that you can get data. You can, create projects using tools like ChatGPT and so on and so forth. All right. Once you've worked on quality projects that you need to share and showcase online, because you need to ensure that you position yourself as an expert on that particular subject matter. We recommend you having a minimum of 30 projects, and also document your experience on where? On LinkedIn. So when you go on LinkedIn, and I'll show you people that have gotten jobs and they've transitioned, you'd see that all these principles were the things that they followed. Once you've worked on projects, you must build a portfolio. A portfolio is your what? Proof of work and experience. And I'll give a typical example. I have projects for the health sector. I have worked on projects. These are real life projects for the agricultural sector. Okay, on precision agriculture and also smart farming methods. And I've never done anything agriculture before. I didn't study agriculture, nothing related. But how did I build experience to work on projects on precision farming? These are the ways you can get it done. You get data or in that particular industry. And I'll show you practically how to do this in just 2 minutes. Okay, so let's go a little bit practical, and I'll show you just in 2 minutes exactly what I mean. So you go to your browser and you simply type, let's start with Kaggle, for example, kaggle.com/datasets. Okay, kaggle.com/datasets. I'm not currently subscribed here, so, and all you need to do is come here. I want to search for data sets in agriculture so that I can analyze some agriculture-based data and get insights from them. So I come in here and I type agriculture. Okay, and the moment I do this, you would see so many different data sets. Agriculture crop images, India agriculture crop production, global food and agriculture statistics, all right? Pesticide use in agriculture. Let's take, for example, I want to work on a project like this. I'll open this in a new tab. I come in here, all right? And I look at the data set and I see what the data looks like, okay? You have the state code, the country code, estimate, high estimate for the agriculture pesticides. I can download this data by clicking on download over here. All right. I'm not currently signed in. You need to sign in to do that. And we don't have time to go into the nitty-gritty, but I'm just giving you an example of how you can get data. And all you need to do is let ChatGPT do the work for you. Don't even stress your head. Don't what? Stress your head. Get the data, put it on ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT questions, give me 5 insights I can generate from this data set, or give me 10 insights I can generate from the data set, and ChatGPT would give that to you, all right? Similarly, you can go to our world in data.org. Okay, I have them on my slide, so you don't need to worry yourself too much about getting the links. They'll be in the slides when you receive them later at the end of today's session. Our world in data.org, all right? If I go to browse by topic, I can see different topics: population, demography, health. And I worked on a lot of projects using our world in data, especially for the health-related, projects. I did one on alcohol-related death, alcohol consumption. I did one on coronavirus and so many other, projects I worked on. And this helped me when speaking with people in the sector, because I can speak from a level of experience of having worked on similar type of projects. Okay, food and agriculture is another aspect. All I need to do, if I want to look at crop yields, for example, I want to work on projects on crop yields or pesticides, I just click on it and it takes me to articles on that particular area. But what I need is not the article. I need the what? The data set. Okay, so this one shows what? The yield for wheat. I want the data to analyze. All I need to do is come down here, click on what? Download. Okay, and what do I want to download? I want to download the full data, and I click on this, download. All right, it comes up like this. Let's give it a few seconds. All right, so I right click on it. Let me see. I'm not sure what I click on it, click on save as. Okay, so it should have downloaded automatically, but it didn't. So I'm just going to right click on save as. Crop yields is going to save as Microsoft Excel CSV file, and I click on save. Okay, so this saves the data for me. Now, Let me just show you very quickly. And like I said, I didn't plan for this, but let me just show you very quickly. I go to ChatGPT. I want ChatGPT to do my work for me. I don't want to stress myself. I go to ChatGPT. I open up that data set. So let's go back to the data that I downloaded. All right. I go back to the data that I downloaded, and I'm showing you practically how you build experience in different sectors. So when people tell me, oh, I'm in education, how do I transition from education into, data analytics and so on? I still want to work in the education sector, work on more education related projects. Simple. So here it says, by default, let's convert, it doesn't matter. So this is what my data looks like on Excel. I don't want to stress myself. I'm just going to copy, let's say, the first 15 rows, or even 10, the first 10 rows of this data. I select it and I'll copy, Control C. Okay, I'm just going to copy that, Control C. There are better ways of doing this, trust me. You can also use ChatGPT 4.0, but this is not the class for that. So I come in here and I say, I want you to act as a professional data analyst. Okay. I hit enter. ChatGPT will tell me, of course, I'm here to assist you with your data analysis needs. What specific task or project would you like an assistance with? I have agriculture related data sets, and I want you to come up with 5 insights that I can generate from the data. Full stop. I go to the next line. Wait for me to provide the data set before you come up with the insights. Okay, and I send that as well. And let's see what ChatGPT would say. Absolutely, I'll be here when you are ready with the data set. Just let me know when you have it and we can start deriving insights. I open 2 quotes, 2 inverted commas, open the first quote, open the second one, and in between, I paste that data set that I copied from my Excel, and then I hit enter. All right, so let's see. ChatGPT will then tell me exactly what I need to do. First of all, ChatGPT is saying we should find the trends in crop yields over time. So it's telling us to do what? Analyze the trend of yield changes over the years for specific crops or groups of crops. Identify which crops have shown consistent growth, decline, or fluctuations in yields over the years. I can break this down into further telling ChatGPT to show me how to do it on Excel, guide me on how to do it, and so on and so forth. But like I said, today's session is not on ChatGPT. We have so many content on ChatGPT on our YouTube page. But that's one of the ways you can use ChatGPT irrespective of your sector, and you're able to build quality projects that you add to your portfolio. So you must build a portfolio. This is your proof of experience. Recruiters want to see this. They want to see that you have the experience, you know how to use Excel, Power BI, Tableau to do amazing work. Okay, and I'll show you a portfolio of one of our participants and how she has been able to build a portfolio. And if she sends that link to any of you, all you need to do is click on the link and you'd see the type of project she has worked on. Okay, so I've also kept the link for you guys so you can access the link and click on it as well. So let's first of all check Lemuel. I'll click on Lemuel's link. She's a business analyst, but you'd see her portfolio that she created. And this portfolio is always on your CV. So recruiters can go to click on the link and interact with your project. All right. So this is Lemuel. You can see, welcome to my business analyst portfolio. where data meets insight and innovation. So one of the projects they worked on is the Unilever canteen ordering system. So Unilever had a process where employees would have to queue for a very long time when they go to the staff canteen. So as the business analyst, you help to optimize that process. Okay, and after she completed this particular project, she uploaded it here, and let's have a look at what she's done. So I come in here and I click on Explore the Unilever project, and it takes me into the project she completed while she was in our Analytics business analysis program. Okay, so you work together in groups and teams. Lemuel's team was called Team SDLC. Okay, and you can see the background, the problem statements, the objectives, the business case. They had to come up with a business case for this particular project. You have the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders on this particular task or project? The employees, the management, canteen manager, the menu manager, the chef, the delivery boy, and so on and so forth. All right. You have the RACI matrix, which they use to what? Analyze their stakeholders and so on, who has at different levels using the RACI matrix to analyze their stakeholders. They did a SWOT analysis. Also, you have the features, the requirements for that particular canteen ordering system, the front end features, the back end features. You have the process map. This is the as-is process map, which is the current process map. Let me maximize it a little bit. So how does it start? You know, currently, what do they have as their current process? And of course, what is the to be? What is the ideal process for ordering items in the canteen? You have the to be, you have the sprints, okay, properly documented, the user stories, and so on and so forth. So anybody who looks at these documents would not doubt that Lemuel is an absolutely phenomenal business analyst. But that's not all. Part of the analysis she did was to also work on a British Airways analysis, all right? Sunshine results analysis for a result that needed to optimize its customer service across board, and also for British Airways to optimize their pricing and also leveraging customer insights to doing what they've done. Max Corporations, ABC Retail, as-is, travel expense, and this shows all the projects that Lemuel has worked on. And all she needs to do is keep this link somewhere on her CV, and recruiters can access and see how amazing Lemuel is. All right. So your portfolio is absolutely important. I can't overemphasize that if you ever want to get a job. Finally, you must join a platform that provides you with internship. All right. And that's where Analytics comes in. So you don't just learn and assume and expect that you get a job. You have to build experience under your belt. And this is how you do it. Internships from the program, the learning program you've joined, you build a portfolio, work on quality projects. And last but not the least, you join as many hackathons as possible. All right, as many hackathons as possible. For us at Analytics, we organize 3 hackathons every year. 3 hackathons every year, or minimum 2. 1 for the general public and 1 for Analytics alumni. Okay, so we have that every single year. It's on our YouTube page, the one we did last year in May and also in December. All right. I've also kept the link to those projects, like I said, but I'll highlight people that have gone the same way that you want to go, people that have achieved success, just like you would also want to achieve success. And I'll go through this very fast so that we can start to wrap up and I take your questions. All right. Muhyiddin, currently based in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. He works from Nigeria for a company in the UK called BBX. He works remotely and earns in pounds and spends in Naira. And for anybody in Nigeria, I'm sure you know the implication of this. Muhyiddin joined our program in August 2023. He joined us in August 2023, completed his program and his internship by December, and in February, about 2 months ago, he landed his job in the UK. He's currently in Nigeria, not in the UK, working remotely for BBX. I'm going to show you Muhyiddin's LinkedIn profile so that you would see some of the stuff I talked about and how he implemented them. And that gave him opportunities to land this role. All right. I've also kept a video Muhyiddin created, so you also get inspired by what Muhyiddin has to say about his journey getting into the tech ecosystem and how Tenalytics played a role in doing that. You also have Abigail. Abigail works with the government of Alberta in Canada as a business analyst. Abigail used to work as a care worker in Canada, but she said, no, I wasn't going to, stick to this particular role. I want to get more. I want to do better. All right. And what she did simply was to join the program, and she was able to get this role 2 months after completing her business analysis program with us. The most amazing part of Abigail's story is she started this job in January 2024, and she currently supervises 2 people. She has 2 direct reports, and she has never worked as a business analyst before. All right, I'm going to quickly play Abigail's video for you. I always enjoy listening to Abigail. It's about 2 minutes. I'll play Abigail's video for you. I want you to listen and hear what Abigail has to say about her journey with us. And then we'll start to move to the end of our session today. So let's listen to Abigail very quickly. All right. So all you need to do is click on this link and it takes you to the YouTube page. So let's listen to Abigail.
So what is ClickUp?
All right, so I'm going to hit the play button. I want to be sure that, I want to be sure that you all can hear what Abigail would be saying before I unmute. Okay, so I'm just going to confirm you can hear my audio. Yes, you can hear. All right, so let's listen to what Abigail has to say. It's just about 2 minutes, and then you'll get to learn something from Abigail.
My name is Abigail Garga, and I want to talk about my journey with Tenalytics and how it has helped me to ace my interview and eventually land that dream job that we always wanted. So my training with Tenalytics has transformed my career as a business analyst. They have coached me really well, thoroughly, with hands-on projects, and the instructors are usually super awesome. Topics that are covered are usually real life experience with a hands-on project where you do as a team, where you do as individual. There's always a one-on-one session if you want. Interview preparation, they use real life experience. They coach you on interview and they tell you what you are doing right and what you are doing wrong and where you need to improve and where you are perfect, and all of that. I'm recommending Tenalytics to all my friends, to anyone watching this video. Please don't think about it twice when you just try and attend one of the sessions. It will open your mind. It will give you more ideas on what it is all about. Don't be scared. It was working with Analytics that gave me the confidence to apply for some job roles that I naturally wouldn't apply, because I feel those job roles are usually too big for me. Like, the name sounds so big, and Analytics makes me understand that you can do it as a business analyst. We all got the idea. So I am 100% recommending Tenalytics to anyone that has thought about being a business analyst, a data analyst, or all the analysts that they coach you on. You won't have regret in it. You will come to thank me later. I am happy I joined Tenalytics. They help you develop your user stories on how to use scenario, on how to use real life experience to answer your interview questions, which is usually what helps you to ace your interview. I am so happy I joined Analytics, and I wouldn't have been where I am today without the coaching and help of Analytics. I personally would want to thank the coordinator. He's very good at doing his job. His name is Ubong. Please disturb Ubong on everything you need. Like, he's always there 100%. Any time of the day you call him, he picks. It doesn't matter he's sleeping 2 a.m., 1 a.m. I am really recommending Analytics. So guys, join Analytics and you won't regret it. And Analytics, I personally want to thank you for training me, for building my confidence, and for helping me to understand that there's a BA in every one of us. Thank you guys. Bye.
All right. So that's Abigail, and Abigail is a phenomenal professional. Okay, that's Abigail you have on the screen. She was a carer, a care worker in Canada, but today she's a business analyst. And all the things she had to do were similar or are similar to all the things I've highlighted today during our session. Same with Ini. Ini got a job. He joined us in October 2023. Okay, he joined us in October 2023 and he got his job in February. All right, and Ini had so much to say about his experience. He shared this on, their WhatsApp group. I just had to clip it and also put it here. Part of the things that people would see and that helps for them to get value during the program goes beyond the technical, like I said earlier. All right, it all has to do with what, and that's what Ini talked about here, where he said, I want to thank Analytics for bringing out the ginger in me. And besides the regularly well-organized and structured weekly classes, the other sessions, such as the mentorship, all right, such as the mentorship every Thursday, shaped my mind towards success. And these are the things you must do, you must have to help you. Chika as well. Chika was a master's student in the UK, joined our program, and today Chika currently works as a financial analyst in a company in the UK after he completed his program. You have Idris. Idris, also joined us, got a job with Jaguar Land Rover, and today currently works with QuantSpark in London in the UK after working with us. And we also helped him, his references, his recommendations before he got this job. We worked with him to do that. You have Victor. Victor also got a remote job the moment he completed his program with us. He got a remote job working from Nigeria in Lagos for a company in Chicago, Illinois, in the US. And these are the amazing professionals. You have this gentleman. I had to blot out his name because he indicated the salary they were going to pay him, so that people don't go chase him, for money. He received this job, got a job as a data analyst. He's in the UK, of course, and the salary he was getting started with is £44,000 per annum. All right. He was notifying me. He got the job. He participated in something we used to do in our mentorship program called the mock interview sessions. All right. And he was telling me if I could recall that he participated in the mock interview. And what the mock interview does is to create an environment where we simulate what the interview experience would look like. People would have submitted their names and their CVs as if they had applied to that job. We would create the jobs, sent to the participants. They would now be on the hot seat. We ask them questions and they give us answers just like they would in a real interview, and we give them real-time feedback. So he got this job. I have written his reference and he's well on his way to starting on this role. You have Damilare, fantastic gentleman, also got a job as a sustainability analyst just last month, March 27th. You can see that also sent an email as a sustainability data analyst. And this particular person also got a job as a data analyst, has so many, offers from 3 different companies, interviewed with 3 different companies and was made offers by all right? And they were just saying that I'll be sticking with the bank Julius Baer as a data and business analyst. And these are the opportunities and so many other success stories. So many other success stories. I'm not going to bore you with all of them. I've kept the link to the testimonials that you can access and get a feel of people who have transitioned, how they were able to transition. This beautiful lady over here works with the NHS in the UK, full visa sponsorship after completing our data analytics program as well. All right. So click on the link, listen to them, and I'm sure you'll learn one or two things from these amazing professionals. And I didn't forget, I said I was going to give you the story of somebody who was a business analyst, and Excel, Power BI, and SQL was what got him his current job after 6 months out of work in the UK. I'll highlight that before we call it a day. So what are the things you must do, or that we do, to give you those employability skills? Number one is your CV. You must have an uptight CV. You must have a CV that gets you the results of interview opportunities. And there are so many things you need to do. The portfolio link is just one of them. You must have a CV that is ATS compliant in a way that it has the right keywords that would attract any recruiter to call you for an interview based on how you have tailored that CV. So we teach you how to tailor your CV to job requirements. So when you're applying to 100 jobs, you're not applying with the same CV and hoping to get results, all right? Your LinkedIn optimization. I'm going to show you the LinkedIn profile of a couple of those people you have seen that have gotten jobs. I'll show you their profile, and I'll show you the things, specific things that they did that helped them land the job. You need to have an Upwork profile that will give you the opportunity to work on freelance projects across the globe, irrespective of where you are. Navigating the job market session. These are sessions we have every single Thursdays. Today, for example, we have people who are currently learning how to what? Negotiate salaries. Negotiate salaries based on their locations, all right? That's what they are doing today in navigating the job market sessions. And one of the most important aspects is your interview preparation. Now you've done all the things you need to do. You have an interview and you don't know what to do. You are confused, all right? How do you know the questions you're going to be asked during the interview? You need people who have been in that space, who have the experience, who can guide you so you can preempt the type of questions and prepare appropriately. And that's what we do during our interview preparation session. And of course, every organization would want you to show that you have some sort of affiliation with a reputable organization. Tell us a time where you have done this before. Who have you worked with as a Scrum Master? Who have you worked with as a business analyst? Who have you worked with as a data analyst? You have 10 analytics to call upon, and we write these references and recommendations for you to help you get confirmed on that role. Now, this is the level 1 of what we do. Level 2 is where you have your weekly mentorship sessions. Most of you are transitioning. You need to ask those critical questions, those questions that are burning questions. You need to ask, who are the right people to ask? You need mentors in the space. We have mentorship sessions every week. And of course, we have something we call on-the-job support. So now you've gotten the job and you get yourself involved in a project that you really find a little bit difficult to get started. You always have 10 analytics to cover your back. All right. And of course, like I always tell people, we have mechanisms in place to ensure that you don't breach the data privacy of your organization and so on and so forth. But we support you to ensure that you get the job done. And finally, our promise in 2024 is a guaranteed job interview at least 1 month after you complete your training program with us. And that's the guarantee from us. All right. All the programs come with a free internship, and this makes your CV stand out. And you also have your portfolio on your CV. Just before I start to take questions, and a lot of people are asking, oh, what does it take for me to be a part of the program? I'll be sharing that shortly. All right, I'll share that shortly. What's the cost of the training and so on? what does the training cost? Let's get where we are headed. You see, patience is a virtue, and for the best people that get the best result or the best outcome are those who know exactly what they're getting into. So it's very, very important. All right. And that's why I'm taking our time to explain all of these details, because these same questions will come back later. All right. So we're almost done. We are rounding off in the next 15 minutes with the session. All right. We are rounding off in the next 15 minutes. And all I'll be doing when I talk about project-based classes, what does it mean? What does project-based mean? Okay, I'll show you that, and then I'll come back, walk you through the fees and the discounts we have available, and then we call it a day, and I'll take your questions, all right? So when we say project-based classes, what do we mean? And this is what it means. I'll show you one of the classrooms that we have and how you learn, because you can't join or pay for something you don't understand, or pay for something you don't know the way it works. All right. So let's take, let's see the data analytics. So what you have here is data analytics, April. You have April, people that started in April, just about, they started last week on the 6th of April. All right. But let's go to a class that started much earlier, because they've covered quite a couple. Let's look at the data analytics for those that started in March. Okay, those that started in March. Now, this is your classroom, and this is where all your materials. I talked about the fact that there is a mentorship session today on salary negotiation. So you can see that here. This is the link for you to join the class. Okay, so if you were a part of the program, you would have been in this session this Thursday. Now, part of the things you'd see the moment you join your classroom is your important materials. So you have a CV template. Like I mentioned, once you've understood how to tailor your CV, we then send you a template that you work with and modify and tailor every single time you are applying. And what's the best CV format? I'm going to type it into the chat. What is the best CV format? The best CV format for you to use is called the Wharton CV format. Okay, the Wharton CV format. I just typed that into the chat. That's the best CV format. So you have that template to use. Why is it the best? It does very well when it comes to the ATS, the Applicant Tracking System. All right. Job roles you can apply to, and also how to structure your LinkedIn. All right. As a data analyst, what type of summary should you have on LinkedIn? So we provide you with these documents that you use to update your LinkedIn profile. Okay, your job description, and also the roles you can apply to as a data analyst, and so on and so forth. So when you see roles like database analyst, people think it's different. For those applying to Canada, you have the NOC code, the NOC code of, you'd see database analyst and so on. And you think it's different from what you're doing as a data analyst, but it is not. They are pretty much in the same category. So when you see roles like marketing analyst, is this a role you can apply to? When you see a role like business intelligence analyst, can I apply to this role? So we provide you with this to give you a guidance on how to apply to jobs and how to structure your LinkedIn summary and so on and so forth. And if you want to book an interview, all you need to do is click here, click on the links, any of the links. If I click on this link, for example, it takes me to a Calendly. And all I need to do is check for the date available, select the dates. If I don't have a date available, so let's say I choose 16th, 2 p.m., click on next, I enter my name, I enter my email, all right? And I share anything that would help to prepare for the meeting, like the job description. And once I click on schedule, it will schedule the interview prep for me. And I can also schedule my session with Jennifer. Click on this link and it takes me to Jennifer's Calendly, and I can check for the date available. There's a date available tomorrow on Friday. I can click on that and there are different timings, 8:30, 9 a.m., 9:30. I can select any of this time, and somebody would meet with me to prepare me for my interview, okay? We also have a job application tracker to help you track the jobs you're applying to, so you can stay ahead and know that you are meeting your targets that you should. Because applying to those, the jobs you don't apply to, you miss out on them 100%. So you need to track how you apply to jobs. So there is a job application tracker that helps you stay on track on your job application journey. But let's go to Excel, and I'll show you what I mean by a project-based class. All right, a project-based class. Let me go to this Microsoft Excel live class 2, and I go to the material, okay? This particular case study is a case study for a company called Agri Limited, and it is a supply chain analysis case study. This is a real life case study for a company that either myself, the co-founder, and other industry experts have worked on. All we did is to change the name of the company and change part of the data set, all right? And this gives you access to real world problems. And in this particular case, you've just been employed as a data and insights analyst in the supply chain department of a food production company, all right? And you would use Excel to do what? Answer these questions. So you're not learning Excel for the fun of learning, you are learning Excel to solve problems and answer 2 questions: what happened and why did it happen? Okay, so here you'd use the VLOOKUP, you'd use the index and match, and so many other functions. And this is what we call project-based learning. So the projects you work on forms your experience, because these are real-life experience of what? Of who? Of people that have gone through that company. We created this as a case study of their previous experience. Okay, so that's an example. And if you ever miss this class for any reason, you have the class recording. All you need to do is come in here, click on the link, and it takes you to the class recording, and you have access to everything that happened in class. All right, you have your CV review session, and we also have something we call the drop-in session. And this is the last thing I'll talk about before I move back into my slide to give you the cost it takes to be a part of the program. What's the drop-in session? What does it mean? Now, imagine you have a class on Saturday, you missed that class. You've come back to the recording, let's say Microsoft Excel class 1, you come to the class, you missed the class on this particular day. Now, you've come to the class recording, you've watched the recording, you've seen everything that was done, you've gone to the material, you've downloaded the slides, you've downloaded the case studies and everything, you've practiced, but you still have questions. You've asked your questions in your WhatsApp group, but you need further guidance. That's where we have our drop-in session every single week in the evenings, during the week itself, usually on a Wednesday evening. So you join this session and somebody will join you on the call real time to help you answer questions. So you don't take a problem from a previous class into a new class, all right? And this is what the platform looks like. You start with your onboarding materials that contains your welcome kits and every other thing you need, how to save a video, how to download and install PostgreSQL, how to download and install Power BI on Mac, and you have all these materials available for you. And then you go into your classes, starting with problem solving. Problem solving, of course, is your very first class where you get to learn problem solving techniques. And for those who might be asking, I have done nothing related to data before, can I be in this class? And the answer is yes. You don't need any experience. I myself, my first degree was in industrial chemistry. All right, my first job was as a management consultant. So I didn't start out as a data analyst. I did not learn computer science in the university. And we've also seen that. And what you start with is on the foundation. So if you go to problem solving, for example, you start with what? What is data? That's where you start from. What are the types of data? Quantitative, qualitative, numeric, and text-based, discrete, and continuous. You learn what is data, the type of data, before you move to what is data analytics. And this is what you do, during the very first part of your program. And this gives you the foundation that helps you get into data analytics itself. And this is what your platform looks like. It contains everything that you need, all the materials, all your case studies, all your slides, everything, you find them here. The mentorship sessions, you have your body mentorship and so on. What is the body mentorship? Body mentorship is simply people like you that have gotten jobs. Somebody like Muhyiddin, somebody like Abigail, they come back to mentor you during the body mentorship, because it's easier for you to relate to people like that because they have just achieved what you're trying to achieve. Okay, so this is the class that started in March, all right? 2nd of March, if I'm correct, and they have started their Power BI. They are currently having, I think, they've done Power BI class 2, they've done their data storytelling, data visualization, and after you're done with Excel, you have a capstone project, and then you have presentations. So during your presentations, this is where you communicate, you tell a story. And for the business analyst, you do the same as well to build your communication skills. Very, very important. All right. And this is what a typical classroom would look like. If you go to the business analysis, it's pretty much the same. If you go to the Scrum Master, it's pretty much the same. If you go to business analysis, this is for the March cohort as well. You'd see similar, classrooms. You have your job application tracker, you have your interview preparation, your CV templates, the business analysis job description, how you structure your LinkedIn profile as a business analyst. And all of these things are the things that eventually get you the job. The BACB templates, the template you need to use to apply to jobs, the links to job sites that you need to apply to, and so on and so forth. And then we show you exactly what to do. This current class are having their 6th BA class, which is on process mapping. Okay, this is what they're going to have on Saturday. The last class was on gap analysis. Gap analysis. You have what? A template, because they did something on using the fishbone templates to check cause and effects, right? And this is a practical session that happened in class last week, Sunday, on the, I think this was on the 7th of April. Okay, so just to give you an idea of what the classroom looks like and how you also get to learn with us at Tenalytics. Okay, now, what does it take for you to be in our class or any of these programs? Our next cohort starts on the 4th of May, 2024, less than a month from now, and we have an amazing discount called the early bird discount for the first 20 people to get into the program. All right. So for the data analytics and the business analysis program, the fees are the same. Okay. And rather than paying the full amount of $750 to get into any of these two programs, you have a 33% discount right off the bat. And you get to pay just $600 instead of $750. If you're paying in pounds, you get to pay just £500 instead of $625, 475 euros instead of 730, 750 Canadian dollars instead of 1,125, and just 600,000 instead of 900 to be a part of data analytics or business analysis. And for those going for the Scrum program, you also get 33% discount for the first 20 people to be a part of the program. And if you're paying in dollars, instead of paying $450, you get to pay $350. If you're paying in pounds, you get to pay just £295. If you're paying in euros, you get to pay just $285. If you're paying in Canadian dollars, just $450. and you're paying in Naira, just 360,000 Naira. And how do you become a part of the program? How do you make payments? All you need to do is to use the link that you have on my slide. And I'm going to show you how. 33% discount for the first 20 people who would be getting started. You click on this link and it takes you to the enrollment page. All right. So once you click on the link, it takes you to the enrollment page. You also have access to all the program brochures. You know, I had broken down all the things you need to learn as a data analyst, business analyst, Scrum master, but you want to look at your facilitators. Who are the people that are going to train me, for example, in the business analysis program? And you can get that from the program brochure. So I click on the link on the program brochures and I go to the business analysis, for example, okay? And I want to see the nitty-gritty of the things I'll be learning. So I go to the business analysis brochure, I look at why business analysis, why do I need to become a business analyst? You look at the curriculum, okay? All the things I had mentioned, Microsoft Excel, Power BI, SQL, ChatGPT, project initiation planning, Agile Essentials, where you'd learn what is Agile, the Agile principles, the Agile roles, Agile concept, and so on and so forth, the software development life cycles, requirement elicitation, and so many things. And of course, you can go all the way down to your facilitators. You would see the type of projects you are going to work on as a business analyst. The British Airways that you saw on the portfolio I highlighted, you have a screenshot of it over here, all right? And of course, you're also going to learn from the best in the industry, I'll be one of your facilitators, and that's me over there, okay? You can also click on the link. It takes you to my LinkedIn profile, and you can connect. I'll be very happy to connect with you. You'd also work with Linda. Linda is a phenomenal business analyst, over 10 years experience working for companies, both in Africa and also in the UK. You have Oluwaseun. Oluwaseun is a product reliability engineer with Visa, all right? Oluwaseun would also be your facilitator. He's worked for MTN while he was in Nigeria, and he currently works for Visa in the UK as a product reliability engineer. You'd work with Olabisi. Olabisi is a business analyst with Access Bank and also a Scrum master and IT project manager. And you have access to all the brochures. So I've looked at the brochure. I've decided I would love to be a part of the business analysis program. And you can make payments in multiple ways. You can do a direct transfer to any of our bank account details, to our pound accounts, USD accounts, Canadian dollars accounts, Euro accounts, or Naira accounts. Okay, so you have all the details here. And if you want to make payments using your credit card or debit card, you can also do that by clicking on any of these links. So I've decided I want to go for business analysis or data analytics. And I click on the link. It takes me to where I can, make my payments for the program. Okay, so here you have access to secure your discounts. And what does that mean? The fee for the data analytics program, the discounted fee, if I'm paying in US dollars, for example, or I'm paying in pounds, which is 500 pounds, I want to secure my slots so that I get the discount because it's for the first 20 people. You can pay a minimum fee of 100 pounds to be a part of the program, but you must complete the 500 pounds before the program commences. All right, but I want to secure my slots today. I have 200 pounds. I go in here and I type in 200 and I use this to secure my discounts because the moment we get to 20, the discount slots are gone and you have to make the full amount, pay the full amount to be a part of the program. So I select 200, or maybe I have 300 pounds today. Next week or 2 weeks after, I would have the balance to pay. I come in here, I click on reserve a seat, enter my full name, type in my full name. Okay. Enter my email address, enter my phone number, and then I click on pay with card. Enter my card details, and the moment I do that, I confirm my payment. The moment you confirm your payment, you will get an email with a receipt into the email you've provided. Okay, and that email would also have a link for you to fill your details and your preference. Okay, and that link where you'd have to register and fill in your details would look like this. It's also on this enrollment page called Upload Your Receipts. So it doesn't matter where you are. Once you click on the link, it would show you the currency based on your location. If you are in Canada, for example, you'd see the CAD. If you're in the US, you'd see the US dollars, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you'd see a form that looks like this, and you can fill this form for the May cohort. Now, what if I want to be a part of the program? I want to secure the discount, but I don't want to start on the 4th of May. I want to defer my program to start in June. Can I do that? Absolutely. All you have to do is enter your details. Okay. So here I'll enter my email at thereisa@10analytics.io. Next, you fill in the form. What type of payment did you make? Did you make initial payments? If you made an initial payment, you click on initial payments. If you made a full payment, you click on full payment, click on next. All right. If you pay with your card, you will receive the link to this form automatically in your email. But if you do a direct transfer, you'd have to come back to the enrollment center and click on upload your receipts so that you can upload and so on and so forth. Okay, so all balance payments must be made on the 30th of April. So if I've paid a £200 or I've paid a 200,000 naira, I know that I need to make the balance payment on the 30th of April. So click on yes, click on next. I enter all my other details, my first name, Adeza, and I'm just walking you through so you don't have any problems, Suleiman. All right, and my Gmail, Adeza Suleiman @gmail.com. Gender, male. Click on next. Okay. You have the terms and conditions. You read the terms and conditions, click on yes, click on next. All right. When did you make payments? I made payment today. So I select today's date. Today's date is what? 11th. Upload the screenshots. I go to my downloads. Okay. So you would have, if you did a transfer, for example, you should take a screenshot as proof of payment. You have that. I'm just going to upload something here just for the purpose of illustration. All right. So you upload your receipts, your proof of payment. Okay, upload your proof of payment. What's your mode of payments? How did you pay? I did a direct transfer or I paid through the website. Of course, you can also pay through the website, or I did a main stack transfer. So let's say I did Wise. I did a transfer Wise, which is one of the bank account details you have. I click on next. Okay, the name on the account that you paid with. I paid with an account with my name, Adeza Suleiman. And if I want to, select the program that I want to join, I come here to select. I want to join the business analysis, or I'm not even sure and I need guidance, further guidance from Adeza, further guidance from anybody else. I come in here and I select, I need to speak with a professional. So if you select, I need to speak with a professional because you need further guidance, we will schedule a session with you to talk to you, hear from you, and decide on the program you want to join. But the most important thing is to secure your discount slots so that you don't miss out on the discount. So if you select, I need to speak with a professional, for example, because you are not sure if you should do data analytics or business analysis, it's totally fine. You click on next. Now, this is where if you want to start next, the month after. So you don't want to start in May because you have commitments, in May. You come here, instead of selecting the 4th of May, you want to start on the 8th of June. Select that and we get the details and we put you in the right class, okay? The most important thing is you take advantage of the discount because it is for the first 20 people to get the early bird discount, all right? I'm going to take a breather at this point in time, and I'm going to take questions before we call it a day. All right, I'll take some questions before we call it a day. So if you have questions you want to speak by unmuting yourself, please use the raise hand icon, or you can just send your questions into the chat. I will answer questions from the chat. Okay, I wish it was 200K. I would have jumped on it. If it was 200K, I'm sure you wouldn't believe that you'd get this type of value for that amount of money. It's unrealistic. Okay. Okay, let's see. Just trying to check questions before I take questions from those who have their hand up. Okay, somebody's saying I came in late. I would need the recording. The recording will be made available to you. Will you accept installments? I think I answered that question already. You can make payments in installments, but the deadline to make payments is on the 30th of April. Let me tell you something, Kilani. Nigerians represent the highest number in our programs. Nigerians represent the highest number of our participants. We just started a cohort last month. All right, we started a cohort last month, and the success rates is what gets people to eventually get on the program. Like I said, anybody can go on YouTube, anybody can go on any other platform, but what gets you the job is not the technical. It goes far beyond that. All right, let me take a question from somebody who has their hand up. That's Yvonne and Essien. So Yvonne, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Hi everybody. Please, I
Hello.
want to find out. I'm interested in the business analysis, but I understand there's a certification, CBAP, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how does that play in this course?
Okay. All right. So first of all, CBAP is highly irrelevant when it comes to getting a job. All right. That's number one. Number two is we have looked at the CBAP curriculum, the IIBA curriculum. We've looked at the BCS, which is the equivalent in the UK, and we've used that to design the curriculum for our business analysis program. The major difference is that CBAP is 100% theoretical, and that's why your CBAP certification would not get you a job. Okay, and I'll tell you something today. We have so many people who today were able to get jobs, but they were CBAP holders. They had CBAP, they had applied to jobs forever, and they couldn't get a job. And the only time they were able to get a job was when they came to learn the skills to get the job done. How can I, if I'm employed today as a business analyst, do I know what to do on day one? How do I gather requirements? How do I map out processes? How do I use Jira to track project deliverables? And this takes me to the gentleman I said I was going to talk about. All right, I said I was going to talk about this gentleman, and this is to answer Yvonne's question on how irrelevant these certifications are. Okay, Olamide was out of job in February 2023, and he had been applying to jobs for over 6 months, and he never got one single interview. Now, he joined a session like this, and he asked the question, just like Yvonne has asked the question, that I've been applying to jobs for the last 6 months. I've not been able to get a job. Okay, we invited him to our clarity session, and in that clarity session, which is if you select I need to speak with a professional, right? We had that clarity session, and when I looked at his CV afterwards, there was something missing. There was Excel missing, Power BI was missing, and SQL was missing. And as a business analyst in 2024, without these skills, you cannot get a job. You'd struggle. You can get a job, but you'll struggle to get a job. So you must have these data analytics skills added to your BA skills. Okay? So this was number one. Number two, he had about 5 years experience as a business analyst, but his CV was about 5 pages, which is very unusual. I have about 10 years experience. My CV is just 2 pages. So why should you have 5 pages? So he worked on his CV, and I told him to join the program to learn Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Now, the job focus was no longer on just the business analyst role, but business data analyst. So we applied to the two and so many other roles, around the BA ecosystem. And this is Olamide sending me a message. Hello, Adeza. I got a job as a business data analyst, not business analyst this time around. Thank you for the support this past few months. I really appreciate. And this was in November. He came to us in July to join the program. So by July, August, September, October, he was done with his program and his internship, and he got the job in November. All right. And this is Olamide sending me a message again in December, the end of the year, to say, compliments of the season, Adeza. This is wishing you a fruitful and fulfilling 2024. Thank you for being a helping hand for me this year. Olamide has 0 certification. The BAs you see on our platform have 0 certification. Certification comes in as a feel good and as a nice to have. It's not a requirement for you to get a job. And the best way for you to check is to search for the job. Go online, go on LinkedIn, go on Indeed.ca, depending on where you are, go on read.co.uk and search for that job role and search for the requirements. And that gives you a clear understanding what is required to actually get that job. Okay, we have looked at it to come up with our curriculum. Ours is fully practical. You learn you equip yourself with how to do the job, okay, and not just having a paper certification. I don't know if I helped to explain that a little bit, Yvonne. If I did, please just give me a thumbs up or just type into the chat so I know that I helped to address that question. Okay, so I'm going to take a question from Adorable Aziza. Adorable Aziza, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Please go ahead and ask your question. Aziza, if you are there. Okay, I think Aziza is struggling to unmute. Okay. So like I keep on saying, guys, remember, have this at the back of your mind, write it somewhere. It's always competence over credentials. Okay, competence over credentials. Let me see more questions. What about cybersecurity? Today is not for cybersecurity. Olowo. Today is for BA, DA, business analysis, data analytics, and Scrum, the Scrum program, right? Not for cybersecurity. Okay. So let me check more questions in the charts before we start to wrap up. How much is the cost of training for business analysis? Okay, so I'm just going to go back to that. You also have Mojishola. Mojishola is also a business analyst, fantastic lady in the UK. And she got a job towards the end of last year, 2023, sending me a message. Hello, Adeza, good evening. Finally got the job offer and I'm starting next week. I want to say a big thank you for everything. Sincerely appreciate your help. God bless you immensely. Mojishola had a little bit of challenges while trying to get this job. So she was really, really appreciative at the end of the day. And these are some of the amazing professionals. You'd see them across board. Take out time, listen to their stories. For those of them that have videos you can listen to. and you'll also get to learn from them. This is Zainab. Zainab got a job as a data manager in January this year after completing our data analytics. You have Ikmat. I talked about Ikmat earlier. She works with the NHS on full visa sponsorship after completing our data analytics program. You have Bernard. Bernard got a scholarship in Canada. I wrote Bernard's reference for him to get that scholarship. And apart from the scholarship in Canada for his master's, he also got a job with his professor as a data analyst as well. Okay, you have Abigail, talked about Abigail already. You listen to Abigail. You have Oluwatosin. You have, for the gentleman who said he's in Poland, Benga is also in Poland. Benga was able to get a job as a business data analyst after 2 years of searching for a job, but he got that job when he came to us. And I want you to listen to Benga if you don't listen to anybody else. And you'll hear how all the job interviews he had, we prepared him for those interviews, and he was able to land a job, the job of his dreams, to use his own words. So listen to Benga when you receive the slides. And all the testimonials are available for you online. Okay? They are all available for you online. Ramat is also a business analyst with the NHS, full visa sponsorship, fantastic lady. And these are amazing professionals. But let me take you back to the fee for the gentleman that asked the question, all right? The discounted fee is for the first 20 people to be a part of the program. It's an early bird discount. Whoops, sorry. It is an early bird discount, okay? Early bird discount for the first 20 people, okay? And for the BA, these are the discounted fees, all right? And depending on how you're paying, depending on your region, your location, it's either you pay 600,000 in Naira, 750 Canadian dollars, 475 euros, 500 pounds, or 600 US dollars. Okay, and as we wrap up, I'm going to show you one person's profile because of time. I need to wrap up in 2 minutes and walk you through what gives you that edge when you join Analytics. Okay, I'm going to show you that as we close our session for today. All right, so just give me 1 second and I'll share my LinkedIn screen and we close with that for today. Like I told you earlier, what gets you the job goes far, far beyond your technical skill. How you position yourself is far more important to the recruiter at the end of the day. Okay, so let me see, you can see my screen. Yes, you can. So I'm going to go to my LinkedIn. All right, I'll go to my LinkedIn page and I'm going to go to Muhyiddin's profile. For those of you that remember Muhyiddin on my profile, if you don't, let me show you who Muhyiddin is very quickly. All right, so this is Muhyiddin, the gentleman who currently works for a company in the UK. All right, I'll walk you through his LinkedIn profile very quickly as we wrap up today. Now, going to Muhyiddin's profile, let me search for Muhyiddin. Muhyiddin Ade Akoni. All right. Now, one of the first things, let me go to his profile fully. One of the first things you'd see when you go to Muhyiddin's profile is clearly indicating what he does as an individual, as a professional. And then you'd also see that you both worked at Analytics. All right. I want to highlight this part a lot for you. You both worked at Analytics. Why is this important? So if you go to his full profile, you'll see currently he works with BBX in the UK, started in February, like I mentioned earlier, as a business development manager. But what does he do? He is responsible for utilizing, I think somebody's unmuted. Okay, he's responsible for utilizing data-driven approach, leveraging tools like Salesforce, LinkedIn to help generate leads for the company. All right. But if you look at his previous experience, what does he say? He worked with Analytics as a data associate and as a data collection specialist. Now, recruiters want to see that you have done this before. Okay, so when you join us in our business analysis, in our data analytics, in our Scrum Master program, you are a business analyst working with Analytics. You will never position yourself as a learner or as somebody who just learns in the last 4 months. No, you are a professional. You are working with Analytics, and you use that for 2 major things: to show that you have the experience, because all the things you've learned, your internship, all the projects you have worked on has equipped you with the same skills, the same set of skills to do the job just like anybody else. The second thing it helps you do is they will ask for a reference from you, just like they did for Muhyiddin and every other person that has gotten a job. They would ask you for a reference. All right, tell us where you have worked before. Okay, you worked with Analytics in the UK, you worked remotely from Nigeria. Can we get a reference from Analytics? And they send us an email with a link for us to fill in a reference, a recommendation, and we provide that for you. Okay, this is what you'd see across board. If you go to other professionals that have gotten jobs, if I go to Zainab recently got a job as a data manager as well. It's the same thing across board. And this forms a very important aspect of you getting the job, all right? And of course, you'd also see you both worked at Analytics, clearly highlighted. And if you go to her profile, you'd see that here, all right? Data analyst with Analytics from April 2023 to January 2024. And she got this job in December 2023. Very, very important. And this is just one aspect of what you have to do, in addition to properly documenting your story. Okay, we don't have all the time to show you every single, nitty-gritty of what you need to do. But what I'll advise you to do is this: take a chance on yourself, invest in yourself, and register for the data analytics, the business analysis, or the Scrum Master program. And the same way, people like Zainab, people like Muhyiddin, and so many other professionals, Rafiat in the UK, Olugbemi in Canada, Abalu in Canada, and so many other people, the names are skipping my head at the moment, they would work with the same process, helping you also get the very best opportunities within the space, all right? Last thing that you need to do is follow us across our different platforms. Go on LinkedIn, search for my name, Adeza Suleiman. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow us on all our platforms, Analytics. Go on LinkedIn and just type in Analytics, all right? And you'll see the amazing stuff our participants are doing across board. Okay, so when you come here, click on follow us, and search and see the amazing stuff all the participants are doing within the program itself. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You have access to amazing content. You have access to phenomenal professionals that you can also learn from. And you have free content available on YouTube, on Twitter, and all the other platforms. Ensure that you follow us and you are a part of the Analytics community. And for those who are not even joining today or tomorrow, when you decide to join, you remember that Analytics is your one-stop shop for anything tech. Okay, share this with a friend, share this with your colleagues, anybody you think would benefit from this. Share the message with them, and we will be very happy to get you into the program. All right, please, can you talk about the time of the week? Classes are Saturdays and Sundays. Somebody sent me that message. Saturdays are your live classes. Sundays are self-paced. You don't need to join a live class. And on Saturdays, it's 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. On Sundays, it's 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. for the Scrum Master and the business analysis. So only data analytics has a free day on Sunday where you don't have to be in a live class. For the business analysis, you join a live class on Sunday. Scrum Master, you also join a live class. And the classes are structured in a way that it doesn't matter where you are across the globe, you have access and you have a time zone that fits. You have a class that fits into your time zone. Uche is saying, please respond to my questions. I'm not sure I've seen your questions, Uche. I'm not sure I've seen it. I'm in Qatar. Can I be your student? We've had students from Jamaica. That was the shocking one for me. We've had students from China, across Asia, and our students cut across the globe. So we'll be very happy to have you in our program, Techno CI6, who is in Qatar. And that'll be very exciting for us to have you on board. Our participants cut across the entire globe, from Nigeria to Ghana to Kenya to South Africa in Africa, to Jamaica in the Caribbeans, to Brazil, to the UK, Canada, the US. Those are the, constant customers, of course, from these locations. And also, we'll be very happy to have somebody from Qatar. I think we've had somebody once, and we always have people join us from the UAE as well, Dubai to be more specific. Uche, if you want to, okay, I've seen your questions now. You mentioned installing programs on Mac. What of Microsoft? So there are ways to install Microsoft programs on Mac, Uche. All you need to do is to install a virtual environment on your Mac. And if you look at the classroom I showed you earlier, these are things that have been provided for you. Let me show you again. Let me see. If you go all the way to the beginning, you would see installations, all right? Power BI for Mac. Power BI is a Microsoft tool. So the way you install Power BI for Mac is different for Windows PC, all right? And these are the things. If you go to the data analytics as well, it's also provided for you. The videos are there. How to download Power BI on Mac, all right? So you install something we call Parallels. You don't have to pay for Parallels. You can use that for a trial period and so on and so forth. Is your program different from Google Analytics? Our program is 1,000 times better. And I say that with all, with all humility, all right? Because I am very familiar with the Google Analytics program. Our program is 1,000 times better. We have people who have done Google Analytics and they come back to us because what do you learn? You learn Google Sheets, which is very relevant in today's world in data analytics. Organizations would ensure that you deploy Excel rather than Google Sheets. That's number one. Number two, you are learning Looker Studio, which is in itself is not bad. That's Google Data Studio. It's also called Looker Studio. It's not bad in itself, but in terms of relevance in the industry, it is way below Power BI, way below Tableau, all right? You also get to learn R. R is very academic. And I'm telling you this because I know I'm very familiar with that program, and that's why I'm saying this. Our program, I say it again, is 1,000 times better and more relevant in today's world than the Google Analytics program. Let me see. Google is a known company, no doubt about that, but it doesn't mean that, they have a better program that helps you get the job. Do you have somebody that prepares you for an interview? Do you have somebody that works with you, writes a recommendation and reference? Do you have somebody that serves as a mentor for you? You don't have all of that. And like I said, Looker Studio, Google it up yourself. Looker Studio, when you look at the, what's it called? There's this quadrant, the magic quadrant for categorizing the best BI platforms. You have Power BI as number one, the best BI platform across the industry, followed by Tableau. Okay, Looker Studio is far, far below that. All right. What certifications are out there? Like I said, Uche, there is no industry recognized certification for anything data. All right, none, it doesn't exist. Okay, everybody can come up with any type of program. And that's why if you do a search and you go online and you search for a data analyst role, you would never see anything that looks like. Take it to the bank, okay? I'm going to drop my email. If you find it, send me an email. There is no certification anywhere for any data role, either data analytics, data science, and so on, does not exist. All right. So these are the misconceptions that people have, and they never get their journey started. They always have one thing holding them back. Oh, I need to get this certification. I need to write this exam. I've done this for 10 years. I've worked for some of the biggest organizations across sub-Saharan Africa, in the UK, in the US. I don't have a single certification, not one. All right. So don't let that hold you back at all. Okay. There is none out there. What's the assurance rate of getting a job? We don't guarantee you to get a job. We guarantee you to get an interview, and we work with you to get the interview. In my personal opinion, any company that offers a guarantee for a job, you need to look at them twice, because do they actually own these jobs? And how do they guarantee that you would get that job you're applying to? All right. So what we do is to equip you with the skills, number one. Number two is to also work with you to ensure that you get the job. What we guarantee is that you get the interview because of the mechanisms we have put in place. So we guarantee that for you. Okay. And we work with you during the interviews to help you secure those jobs. But we don't guarantee you that, oh, we guarantee you a job after this or that. We don't do that. Okay. All right, I think I've answered all those questions. You had 5 questions. I think I've answered them. If there's anyone I haven't, please let me know, and then I will address it. Please, I'm very interested, but I need more guide. So what you need to do, Joy, for us to sit with you and have this conversation, we're going to have a clarity session, like I mentioned. It's more or less like a one-on-one. Microsoft Certified Data Analyst, Kende. If there is anywhere you've seen it as a requirement, just let me know. Okay. Now, IBM they'll design a program, and let me explain the way it works. It's a commercial enterprise. Okay. If something new comes out today, ChatGPT, for example, companies would start to create programs and create certifications because they know that that's what people want to hear. Okay. So IBM would have a data certification. Oracle would have a data certification. Microsoft would have one. Google would have one. Now tell me, which one do you pick? Okay, so that's the question. Which one is the most recognized? Which one do you pick? And that's why I tell you that it's a commercial enterprise. All right, and that's why we don't focus on certification, because it is not relevant. Everybody would have, before you get a job, the process is this. You apply for the job, you get an interview. During the interview, you will be tested by giving a case study and a data set. If you have 1 million certifications, all right, and somebody who has no certifications analyzes that data and presents the data better than you, that person gets the job, and there'll be no single consideration for you. And that's why we always emphasize on competence over credentials, because of how irrelevant those certifications are. If you've not taken anything out of today's session, take this away. Certifications in anything data are 100% irrelevant. Totally irrelevant, right? Always competence over credentials. Always, every single time. Okay. So Kennedy, I can tell you 1 million other, companies that have their own certifications. 1,000,001. Oracle is one. IBM is another one. So which one do you take? Do you take Microsoft? Do you take Oracle? Do you take or do you take everything? All right. So everybody creates something so they can make money out of it at the end of the day. All right. So the focus for you should not be on certification. They are 100% irrelevant. Focus on equipping yourself with the skills, learning how to do the job, creating a portfolio, having the portfolio on your CV, creating a stellar LinkedIn profile that attracts the best organizations, and they will call you for the job. They will interview you for the job. You do a great job, you get the job. Nobody cares about your masters. Nobody cares about your certificates and all those things. They're very irrelevant. Okay. All right. Let me see if I have more questions. I'm not sure there are more questions. So Joy, what I'll advise you to do for those of you who want, a one-on-one, a more one-on-one session rather than, maybe you have some personal questions you want to ask. Okay, this particular age, in this particular career path, and I want to know if this is for me and so on, would have a one-on-one clarity session. And also for those who have selected, I need to speak with a professional. All right. So what you need to do is secure the discount, make the minimum payment, fill the form, select I need to speak with a professional. We will schedule a session with you and help you make that decision. It irks my heart whenever I see people chasing certificates, and I'm always very passionate about it because that's the wrong way to go, coming from somebody who's been in the space for close to a decade. All right. So we're going to close the session at this point in time. And I want to say a very big thank you. MSc Data Analytics, Charles, let me tell you why you should consider. And again, from my own personal experience, it's a waste of money, irrespective at the end of the day. I have done an MSc myself. I completed my MSc last year, 2022. Last year, 2023, in the UK. Okay, before I moved to Canada, I lived in the UK, completed my MSc, and it was a waste of time, waste of money. And for anybody in the UK doing their masters, you would attest to the fact that they don't teach you the skills to get the job at the end of the day. They teach you 100% theoretical concepts. Okay, you are doing research projects, you are doing courseworks, nothing related to you getting the job done at the end of the program. And this is, like I said, from somebody who has also done a master's in the UK. It was a lot of money, but it was a waste of money and a waste of my time eventually. All right. Now, for some people, they use that as a basis to move into those countries. So you can look at that as making an investment to get into the country using the study pathway. If that's what you have in mind, that's, fantastic. But if you want to do the master's because you want to get the skill, I'll tell you for a fact, even though it's not 10 analytics you come into, you would be doing that master's program and still join 10 analytics or another company that offers similar stuff to what 10 analytics does, because that's the way you get the practical skills at the end of the day. Masters will not give you that 100%. Okay. I hope I answered that question, Charles. I'm a mathematics teacher in secondary school. What area can I delve into? For somebody in mathematics, again, it totally depends on you. You have love for numbers if you are doing mathematics. So you want to look at career path where you would work with numbers, analyze data, which would include numerical data, which are numbers. So you can look at career path like data analytics, data science, and so on. Although mathematics is not a prerequisite, all the mathematics for analysis, you learn them during the program itself. And these are the type of questions we always get, Deborah, during the one-on-one session. So we take our time and we walk you through. I ask you more questions, for example, how many years of experience, where are you located, and so on and so forth. And I can then help you take a perfect decision. All right. So secure the discount, join our clarity session. We will invite you once you've selected, I need to speak with a professional, and would help you answer those questions that you have. All right. How much is the discounted rate and what's the minimum? So the moment you click on the link, it shows you the minimum. You would see the minimum there. Do we have we're not based in Lagos, Walter, and we don't have physical classes. All our classes are virtual and all our classes are online. We're based in the UK. We are based in Canada, but we are also registered in Nigeria. Okay. And we don't have physical classes. All our classes are virtual. Okay, let me see. Please, can you make the mode of payments more flexible? I think it's flexible. in terms of you secure the deposits, and then you can pace the subsequent payments up until the 30th of April. Does it mean you don't give certificates? No, we did give certificates, which is just a certificate to show that you have completed the program and these are the skills you have learned. But I can tell you for a fact, nobody would ask you for it. We do give a certificate. We do give certificates rather. If you go on LinkedIn, let me just share, so you'd see some people that have completed the program and showcasing their certificates. All right. And the purpose of the certificate is more to, to show that level of, I have completed this program and these are the set of skills that I have learned. Okay. So once you search for Analytics on LinkedIn, click on people. Okay. And you will see different people, or let's click on posts rather, not people. Let's click on posts. So we can see what people have posted. And then you'd see a couple of people that would have posted their certificates. You'd see what they've done, projects that people have posted, the type of projects they've worked on that are a part of the Analytics program. All right, this is Muhyiddin. Okay, he posted this particular dashboard at some point. Okay, so you'd see so many posts. Somebody did this healthcare analysis, a Analytics internship project. All right, so you'd see all these things once you click on post. And for this, okay, not this session, this is a different, today's session, you can see the post made by Analytics. All right, and once you keep on scrolling, you would see people that would have posted, their certificate at some point. I always get the notification every single time. All right. Okay, so these are people saying, I'm happy to share that I'm starting a new position as a business analyst with Analytics. Okay, this is Mayowa. Mayowa was taking a class at this point and he was sharing, his picture as a data analyst as well. Let me see. There are tons and thousands of people posting daily and regularly. So we might have to scroll a while before we see that come up. But I'd just love to show you where somebody has posted something, so you can also have a feel. But these are participants. Everything you see here are participants posting the work that they have done. And I would also suggest that you do the same. Go online, go to LinkedIn, search Analytics and click on post. Okay, let me see if I can get one from my notifications rather than scrolling forever. So this is one of them. Okay, so I should have just come here to show you. Okay, this is Anselm. Anselm just recently completed his data science program with us, and this is his certificate. Okay, this certificate is presented to Anselm on completion of our program on becoming a master data scientist. All right, and this is what you get once you are done with the program. For you to qualify to get a certificate, you must complete all your capstone projects. If you don't receive a certificate. All right, so that's what it looks like. And if I go to my notifications, I'm sure I would find more of them, because when they post like that, they all tag me and then I see what they have posted. But that's an example for the gentleman who asked the question. If we do give certificates, we do, like I said, and that's an example of what it looks like, if that makes sense to you. Okay. All right. So I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has stayed from the beginning up until this moment. You would receive the slides, you would receive all the materials I have used today. And please don't forget, okay? Don't forget, go on LinkedIn. I beg your pardon, go on YouTube. All right? Go on YouTube and do a search. When you go on YouTube, do a search for Analytics. Search for Analytics. All right? This brings up Analytics for you. click on the Analytics logo, very important. All right, click on the logo and you would see different materials available for free. Okay. This session was held 3 days ago. Everything you need to know about contract or full-time tech jobs, if you're in the UK, Canada, or in the US. All right. We've had sessions, a Q&A sessions on what tech recruiters demand. And we've had so many fantastic sessions. How to automate employee productivity reports using Office scripts and Excel. I think I handled this session about 3 weeks ago, all for free. All right. And you can be a part and learn something. Also, listen to these amazing professionals who have taken our programs, gotten jobs, and they've gotten immense value. All right. Come to testimonials, scroll through, and there are tons and tons of testimonials you would love to listen to and the experience of people who have been a part of us. This is just the highlights. If you click on testimonials, it takes you to the full page that has all the testimonials, all right? For example, you have people like Abigail. We listen to Abigail, right? Listen to Peace, listen to Dankart, listen to Lemuel, okay? How Analytics transformed my life, how this program supported me to land my first tech job in the UK, all right? And Michael, listen to Michael on how he got his first role as a data engineer in the UK as well. This is Idris, who worked with Jaguar Land Rover and currently works with QuantSpark. Let me show you Idris' profile. Okay, and this is why I tell people that, look, when you focus on the wrong things, you struggle and apply to jobs forever. Don't focus on the wrong things. Focus on what would get you the job and the most important things to help you land the job. Okay, this is Adebisi. Adebisi currently is a senior analytics engineer. You would also see you both worked at Analytics, all right? You would see he currently works with QuantSpark. He worked with Jaguar Land Rover. And before he landed this job, you can see he worked with us as a data engineer, right? And these are the things that give recruiters the confidence that you've done it before with a company that works within the data ecosystem. Okay, we, wrote Adebisi's, references and recommendations. We prepared him for his interview to land this very first job as a data engineer. Sorry, I clicked on Jaguar by mistake. Got the job with Jaguar Land Rover, and today he works with QuantSpark as a senior analytics engineer after completing his master's program in the UK. All right. So those are the ways and the things that we do to help you get started. Thank you very much once again. Share the message with somebody that you think would benefit from this, and have an amazing, amazing rest of the week. I know in Nigeria, it's a public holiday. There is no public holiday for people in Canada, and I'm sure for those in the UK as well. I spent Salah yesterday. My kids were at school and really couldn't celebrate until late in the evening. And those are some of the things you see across different regions. Thank you very much, guys. And I hope you got value for your time that you've spent with us today. Have an amazing time, guys. And cheers, everybody. Bye.